you the last scene.
Ted Danson.
They showed you the last scene and then strung it out, pulled at the strings, I called it, of the threads of the storyline.
You got like sort of the ending was the beginning, and you got flashbacks to that every episode, didn't you?
That's right, and this the missing has that feel. The way in which they move around the timelines, it gives you little bits of information.
One other thing
I think is really good.
I will applaud them on is the casting, because I think the girl that they've got to play Alice looks like she would be the daughter of David Morris and Keely Hawes. She's got a strong resemblance to both of them, I think.
I can't wait for the next episode of The Missing now. No. I know you've already seen it, so
I have already seen it.
Don't spoil it. But I'm looking forward to watching it.
This just in for your entertainment.
Get the latest TV news direct from thecustardtv.com.
My God, you are pure television.
Guaranteed.
Look, Gary, you do Crazy Head, because I didn't see this. You can quickly do it.
Okay, Crazy Head is written by the creators of Misfits. Basically, this is a kind of Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of rip-off. This is about a young girl who has been having mental health problems and is coming off her medication. And one of the side effects is that she sees demon faces in people. She obviously believes it's part of her medication and coming off of it. But she's met by someone who convinces her that she's a seer. It's very much teenage market set. I don't know. It's just it's vulgar in places. I would say almost.
I didn't know Sia was in it though. Didn't you say Sia was in it? Just
who's Sia?
It hangs from chandeliers.
Yeah.
I thought that was Del Boy, wasn't it?
God, contemporary references much.
I have no idea who you're talking about. I'll have to look that up.
Sia is the singer that you never see, ironically. Have a look.
She has like a massive.
Never heard of her. She anything like Lady Gaga?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, fine. Vulgar language. I think they've gone for the shock value. They go for scenes which would be shocking.
We really come across as prudes on this podcast.
No, but don't forget,
I know.
No,
we have to be in bed at 9.
Luke was saying earlier about Insecure, about how he doesn't like the language in that, and you don't like the language in Crazy Head.
But I can't become a 17-year-old boy anymore.
What do you mean anymore?
I once was one, is what I mean.
I don't believe that.
I can't tell you how I feel about this show from that point of view, because I think the language and the subject matter took over a little bit. I think there's something there again. There's something there, like Misfits. You know, there's a good kind of storyline in there. Towards the end, you realise it's really like Buffy, because there's an angel type character. You know, one of them that's actually turned good. There's even a big baddie, which is the psychiatrist that's seeing the female lead character.
We're sounding more like children. We really are. I don't like the swearing. There's a big baddie in it as well.
No, because that's what always happened.
They were called Big Bads, not Big Baddies.
Sorry. I'm not going to be watching the second episode or anymore, but I can see how this will have a market, because
anyway,
there would be people who would watch this.
You didn't mention the horse.
The horse was the name of a drug that was being handed out in the nightclubs.
See, I would have wanted a real horse, or at least a pantomime horse.
Well, you got neither. Promised
right. A real horse.
Should we quickly touch on The Apprentice? I don't know where we went from there. Where were you going with horses?
I don't.
There were donkeys on the beach at Brighton.
Donkeys on. There we go. This week's task was to make and manufacture a brand of sweets. The product managers were Oliver, the Sausage King, who reminds me a lot of Tom Hollander. And
thank you. That's ruined it. That's ruined my rewatch of Rev later in the year.
Like Hugh Grant in 4 Weddings.
I still can't get on board with this series.
I'm amazed.
I just
too many
think
people. Who the hell is Henry?
And I think as well that
is it Henry or William?
I think
Where the hell did he come from?
I think as well. Have you finished?
Yeah, sorry.
Are you on the same podcast as us, Gary?
I'm recording 2 at the same time.
As you said last week, they're all idiots, and usually you have one
Yeah.
or two idiots, and that's what makes it entertaining. But you just can't deal with the fact that any of these people would make a good business partner. Like last week, neither of them won the task. I just don't think it's got any credibility, this series, if you know what I mean. It's just they're all.
I suppose I don't watch it for credibility. I watch it for
you know what
idiots.
I mean. You need the best of both worlds. I think
again the only person this week that showed any acumen, even though it was seen as pushy, was the sub-team leader for the trade team.
Sofiev or Sofian?
Yeah, I can't. Is it Sophie?
No, he was annoying. I found him incredibly annoying.
But to be fair, he struck the best deal and had the right idea. And I think, although people criticise, is it William or Henry, the black guy? I can't remember his name.
Henry, I think.
Henry. He piped up in this episode and was like, "If I can sell him for $7.50, I'm going to sell him for $7.50." And actually, he got praised by Lord Sugar. It was like, this isn't a competitive area where everything has to be the same. If he can sell it for $7.50, then that might be what won you this time.
In Matt's defence, I wonder whether it's just the Honey G effect of the X Factor as well, where the idiots are getting all the airtime at the moment, and
that's always been the case.
The proper people have been.
But I
a bit
think in previous series, you've had the nutcases have their 5 minutes or whatever, and the strong characters. But there's about 3 or 4 people who are looking at the route that like Louisa Zisman did, and James from the other year. They're looking at it not as an opportunity for business, but an opportunity to get their character across. And that's why you've got Jessica there being an idiot, Karthik with his, it just doesn't feel like, at the end of the day, even though they got ran around like headless chickens in like every series, you still got the fact that they were thinking about the business aspects of the task. And now it just seems...
I think what we need is a double or triple firing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We need to thin the herd.
Yeah. Luke, should we quickly talk
about this? Talking about horses, Matt.
What are we doing? Married at First Sight I was going to do next.
I remember enjoying this a lot last year. This year, I think they're doing it wrong.
They're tinkering with the format a bit, aren't they? Because last year, what they did was they did it sort of linearly. So the first episode, like they started this episode, was that they did... like the matching, doing all the tests and stuff, trying to match all the candidates who were taking it seriously together. And then last year they had there was 3 couples paired originally, wasn't there? And then one dropped out. So it ended up with just 2 couples. And you saw those 2 couples get married and at the end of the episode head out on their honeymoon. This year they are matching up, I think it's 3 couples. But this first episode just focused on one of those couples. I believe, was it Melissa and Clark, their names were?
Yeah, but my problem was, and I know you're going to disagree with this, my problem was I didn't like Melissa for whatever reason. I can't tell you why. I just didn't warm to her.
And Clark to me reminded me, he was like a sort of stretched out version of Jermaine Douglas from the X Factor.
God, we need to get my mum on this podcast. She said exactly the same thing. She said, I can't stop... She hated Jermaine originally. She said, I can't take him seriously now because that's what I just check? Say.
Would that be as well as your instead of you? Because I'm only open to one of those ideas.
We'll do bi-weekly.
Okay. Could you? One week, I think our mothers should do a podcast instead of us.
Yeah. It'll just be trying to work out how Skype works, though.
Yeah. It wouldn't record.
Very much like
every 10th word you'd hear.
I didn't push the big button. I don't like this new format. I liked following the people along, the different people.
Like the 3 couples.
And because I didn't warm to Melissa... and Clark looked like Jermaine, as you say, I just found myself disinterested.
I have to say, I did wind past bits of it where they were talking to... Because there are skippable bits, especially as you're only focusing on the one couple. What didn't you like about Melissa?
I don't know, it's not really fair to say. I just found her annoyingly overconfident and cocky, and I just didn't warm to her.
I didn't get that.
I know she's in an awkward position, they both are. Also, it annoys me when it used to happen all the time on Don't Tell the Bride, and I know I'm a TV nerd, and I apologise for that. I know I don't live in the real world very often, but the amount of people that go in these bridal shops tell the people who work there what they're doing, and you think, well, haven't you seen the first series of Married at First Sight? Don't you know that people get married to... It just annoys me. They're with a camera crew, for God's sake.
They would have had to have signed a waiver beforehand to allow themselves to be on camera.
And they're with a frigging camera crew. It's not like she's popped in and she's filming this on her phone. It just annoys me.
Yeah, they would have to sign a
I'm
waiver.
looking forward to the one where we see who the train manager was paired up with, though, because I quite like.
Yes, I liked him a lot actually. On the, as we were meeting, there was a lot I liked. But as soon as it dawned on me that all the focus was going to be on the two of them, I thought, a bit disappointed.
And Luke, what's this you're trying to get onto with the horse?
I don't know. It's gonna come to me.
Okay. Well, what I was going to end on, because you got the Crystal Maze here, but did you watch the Child Genius?
Yes. What a superb hour of telly.
I loved that. I thought that was brilliant.
Gary would love it. I'm sure Gary would love this. I know he hasn't seen the previous series of Child Genius.
I don't think it matters. Child Genius, you've got that little extra where they sort of spoofed it by introducing it to the celebrities, like they do with the kids on Child Genius and their pushy parents, especially Krishnan Guru Murphy and his parents. I thought that was brilliant.
I'll tell you what they did, what the celebrities did wrong, and particularly I was screaming at Rachel Riley because she is a very clever woman. What she did wrong, should have just pressed the buzzer and then given herself a little bit of time to think. Only a few seconds she would have needed. And also it showed me more, because you don't notice it so much when you watch the Child Geniuses on their show. But on this, they didn't like being wrong or losing at all. And you sort of noticed that more because this was sort of a tongue-in-cheek thing. But they really hated not winning and not coming first. And well, they did win, spoiler, but
especially Thomas Mogg.
Yes, and I did think there were some genuine comments from Alan Carr towards Thomas when he was doing.
I loved the stuff with Alan Carr and the governors from The Chase.
I did, yeah. I loved all.
It was just a great hour of TV, and I just think it was everything Alan Carr did, from picking the Golden Girls as his specialist subject.
I had no expectation for this at all. I purely recorded it on the Skybox to watch because I like Child Genius and I like the people on it. I wasn't in a great deal of rush to watch it, and we put it on, and it was one of my favourite things for the whole year. It just made me smile from beginning to end.
And as I said on Twitter, I wasn't surprised that Rachel Riley didn't do well on the spelling, because she only knows words that go up to 9 letters.
Always good for your Twitter to get a bit more airing,
yes.
Isn't it?
I only tweet once a week, so
and then repeat those tweets on the podcast.
Finally, the Crystal Maze, which was on afterwards, and Gary watched this as well. This was a one-off revival, but apparently, has anyone seen the ratings? Because I know that they were.
No, but I
know
very
fans
much think
liked
that
it.
I don't think they would create the Crystal Maze if they weren't thinking that they might get some usage out of it again. It's
you are right.
I thought this was very good because Stephen Merchant was perfect, and a lot of the good stuff was really his asides and his comments. The contestants, Rio Ferdinand is not there for his sparkling wit. Michelle Keegan was very good. Sarah Cox was quite good, and Johnny Peacock was okay. Didn't hear much or see much of him. I think there will be people that would want to see a new series of this because the nostalgia is there.
Here you go. I've just found the tweet from Channel 4 Press was it got 3 million, which is a good rating for Channel 4, especially on a Sunday night, and it won the highest share of 16 to 34s, which isn't surprising because that's the market that's going to tune in to watch the Crystal Maze for sort of the nostalgia pop. And finally, before we go on to pick of the week, Luke, what was the thing with the horse?
I don't know, Matt. I'm disappointed. We're all. Let's be honest. We're all. Let's be honest. We're all a bit disappointed.
Well, there's your homework.
Yes. Pick of the week. This is something coming up in the week that we want to point you towards. I'm just going to go very quickly. A lot of it is continuing shows, not that many new things. But as we record today is Friday, so Friday night is Stand Up to Cancer. I won't be watching a great deal of it, but 10 o'clock on Wednesday is the Gogglebox to Stand Up to Cancer special. Now, they're going to show this sporadically throughout Stand Up to Cancer tonight, but this will be the full hour-long show with Steve Coogan, Anna Friel, Ollie Mers, Who else is on it? Niall